Hey, today we're going to be using Whimsicott, a very strong Pokemon in the Great League meta, as recently with the new season, it got the fast move of Fairy Wind. Now, if I had to compare this Pokemon to anything based on its playstyle, feel, and stats, it's very similar to Frostlass. And think about Frostlass, if you allow it to gain a lot of energy, it's gonna sweep teams. Now, Whimsicott here is a Fairy Grass type Pokemon, Fairy Wind, Grass Knot, and Moonblast. It has really solid coverage against the meta, and thankfully, since Nidoqueen really has been seen nowhere the last 2 seasons, Whimsicott is looking very strong. Now, some of its biggest weaknesses is going to be fire, steel, and flying, so you want to have coverages for that in the back, and there's a lot of good options. Honestly, if you throw in double tanks back there, Bastiodon, Registeel, Walrein, Galarian, Stunfisk, 2 of those 4, you're going to be having a good time, and in today's video, we're going to use Bastiodon and Walrein. Alright, getting into the first battle here, we have Whimsicott on the lead versus Trevenant. So not a good lead matchup. We're going to go ahead and swap out right away into Walrein to apply a lot of pressure, and we do see a swap in with Galarian Stunfisk. This is actually really good for us because now Bastiodon might have a lot better time in the end game. So we're going to go ahead and let this first Rock Slide go through, build up to the Earthquake, and now go for an Icicle Spear. It still does neutral damage, but hopefully we can get a shield from our opponent, which we do. Beautiful. So now we're going to look to go for this Earthquake. We will have to shield this Rock Slide in order to throw it because obviously it's going to be taking us out. But we are now in a good position where we might just be able to get to 2 Earthquakes in time. It's going to be close, but we might just be able to do it. So here's the first Earthquake, and it gets shielded. Now, Switch Clock is coming back up, and they are deciding to now throw the Rock Slide. So I'm thinking, you know what, I might just be able to win the race. I think they need 3 or 4 more, and they decide to swap into a Azumarill, so I'm actually going to go ahead and bring in the Whimsicott here. This is a really, really good situation for us because what you're going to see is that even though this is going to be an Ice Beam right here, Whimsicott can tank it pretty well. And what did we say earlier? It feels like a Frostlass. It's very glassy, and you want to load up a lot of energy with it in situations which you can. So we're going to go ahead and just go for the back-to-back Grass Knot here because the first one wasn't enough to take out the Azumarill, but we have good alignment now. Azumarill is gone, Trevenant is going to be coming back in, and we can get to this Grass Knot with 1 HP and a Dream, and even though this is resisted, it still does a lot of damage. Now we have Bastiodon for the Trevenant right here, which is a perfect alignment as we can easily fast move it down with Smackdown. And when Galarian Stunfisk comes back in, we can look to throw the Earthquake right away. So we're going to go ahead and swap and throw the Earthquake, and this is going to be one-shotting the Galarian Stunfisk. Boom! Down it goes, and that is going to be a good game, very well played, as Trevenant won't be able to do enough damage to our Bastiodon here in order to win this game. Now, Whimsicott paired with tanks is very, very strong, and like I said at the beginning of the video, you guys can mix and match how you want. I just wanted to try Bastiodon Walrein, but you could go Registeel and Galarian Stunfisk. You could go Bastiodon and Galarian Stunfisk, Bastiodon and Registeel. Alright, we got Altari on the lead, and this is a cool thing. We are part Fairy typing, which means we resist Dragon Breath while doing super effective damage with Moonblast. That means an Altaria has no play against our whole team. We are going to be shielding this first Sky Attack, and I am concerned that there might be a Medicham in the back. So what we're going to look to do is load up on energy, get to this Grass Knot, and then swap into Walrein now, but they bring in a Skarmory. So very risky play for them having double flyers on their team, not in the back. It's an ABA line. So obviously there's going to be something back there that can handle what we have, Bastion and Walrein. So it could be something like a Swampert. It could be a Medicham. It could be any of those kind of things that can take out a tank, so we need to be very careful. So we're going to go ahead and go for Icicle Spears, just try to get this Skarmory as low as possible, and if we can take switch advantage, I might just go for it. So we do get to the next Icicle Spear in time, which is perfect because if this forces the final shield, I'm going to take switch advantage, but they actually let it go. Final Pokemon is Whiscash, so that makes a lot of sense. Thankfully, we can do some nice neutral damage right here, and our Whimsicott already has a Grass Knot loaded, so they're just going to be able to farm us down. Now, we obviously need to be very careful about Blizzard. That is the one thing that could take us out, so we're going to go ahead and shield this first charge move. They have enough energy for Blizzard, and it was just a Mud Bomb, thankfully, and they actually decide to go for back-to-back, which means this physically cannot be a Blizzard. It's just going to be another Mud Bomb. So now we will see them swap into Altaria. So we're going to instantly swap into our Bastion here to catch the charge move and lock this thing down. Now, something very interesting I want you guys to note. There is a win con for my opponent, and that's if my Bastiodon has A, a lot of health, and B, the switch clock is not back up. So in order to delay that, I'm actually going to stop attacking right here. I'm going to let Altaria just do damage to me. This seems counterintuitive, but think about it. I want my switch clock back up. My win condition is with Whimsicott and double Grass Knot. I also don't want my Bastiodon to have a lot of health, so what we're going to do here is go for the Stone Edge in order to force that final shield from Whiscash. We're probably not going to get it because it is just a Stone Edge, and now we're going to swap into our Whimsicott and go for double Grass Knot. Had we, right, just taken out the Altaria, the Whiscash would have come in, loaded up on energy, and taken out both our Whimsicott and our Bastiodon with a Blizzard and Mud Bomb, you know, against the right Pokemon. But back-to-back, good game. All right, moving to the next one, we got Whimsicott on the lead versus Swampert. So very positive lead right here, and they decide to swap out into a Registeel. All right, let's see what this team can do. Now, our team on paper against Registeel can't really beat it, but that's just simulations, right? This is a real-life battle, and the only damage we have to worry about is charge move damage. And I'm hoping it's not Flash Cannon. It is just going to be Zap Cannon. So we resist Focus Blast and Zap Cannon. Now, our attack did fall. So what we're going to do here is come in with Wall Rain. We will shield this first one, and then look to go for the Earthquake right here to try to get a shield from the Registeel, the Minty Registeel. Now, I'm hoping they actually just decide to let it go through, thinking I'm going to go for an Icicle Spear, but I got to put pressure on shields, and we do get one. So now, this is going to be a very tough situation where I'm going to go ahead and no-shield it, and it's going to be the Focus Blast. Boom! One-shots the Wall Rain. Okay. What do we do now? Well, we can't really bring in Bastiodon, so I gotta bring in the Whimsicott. And like I said, Registeel, like on paper, it looks tough, right? It looks tough to take down, but Lock-On does no damage to us. The only damage this thing can do, and they decide to shield right there. I'm like, okay, maybe they're very weak to Whimsicott, so we're gonna go ahead and shield the charge move right now, and let's see what we can pull out. A Zap Cannon doesn't debuff us as well, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Grass Knot. And this is where I was talking about with Frostlass, how it's dangerous with energy. This is the exact situation. So we're going to go ahead and overload on energy, go for the Grass Knot, because now we might be able to win the race against Swampert because it's swapped out right away. I think it has one Mud Shot. It might have two. But let's see, they do decide to come in with the Swampert, and we get... What do they have in the back? Is it a double water line? I don't know, but Grass Knot, boom! One-shots the Swampert, and the final Pokemon is actually a Sableye! This is huge for us. Granted, if they chose to come in with Sableye, I think it would have been game over, because we would have thrown the Moonblast. It would have been extremely close, but I think ultimately this helped us out because they came in with Swampert thinking they could get to the Hydro Cannon in time, but they didn't. So that is going to be a good battle, very well played. And again, if you guys are facing more Registeels and you're kind of having a tough time, you could easily swap out Bastiodon and Wall Rain for the other tanks, right? Registeel and Galarian Stunfisk will make you have a lot better time. All right, we got Shadow Dragonite on the lead. Very interesting right here. Fairy Wind is chunking as well. So what we're going to look to do is try to go for the Grass Knot on CMP tie. My hope is that it actually went through. As Superpower doesn't do too much damage, but no, it didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out into Wall Rain. They bring in a Shadow Victory Bell. I'm like, what is this team? We have a Shadow Dragonite and a Shadow Victory Bell. So there's going to be, obviously, probably a Shadow Charmer in the back. And my Bastiodon is laughing all the way. Right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to be coming in with the Bastiodon and load up on energy, because I'm reading that based on what they have, they either have double grass or they have a Charmer in the back for the lulls. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast move down, and the final Pokemon is not. It's a Shadow Machamp, and I'm like, oh man, this is looking really bad. We got to go for the Flamethrower right here for neutral damage, then we have to swap into Whimsicott. And this is what's beautiful about our Fairy typing, is we resist Dragon Breath and we resist Counter. So we're going to go ahead and go for Grass Knot here to force that final shield from our opponent, and then we're going to look to fast move down. We do have 2 shields remaining. Cross Chop would take us out at this range. Like, we don't want to mess around, so what we're going to do is risk it for the biscuit. Have you guys heard that saying in a while? And Fairy Wind down. Let's see if we can get it. Yes, we can. Dragonite's going to be coming back in, and we have a Moonblast ready to go in a full, well, somewhat semi-Whimsicott sweep right here. Boom! Down goes the Dragonite. Good game. All right. Moving into the next battle, we have Whimsicott on the lead versus Jellicent. Okay, pretty positive matchup right here. Let's see what they decide to do. They decided to bring in a Abomasnow, which is an interesting safe swap. It wouldn't be one of my choice unless they have something like a Bass, like something even that loses even more to fighters in the back. So maybe something like a Bastiodon back there. So what we're going to do is just fully farm down with fast moves. There's no reason to throw a charge move because we want to have a Stone Edge ready to go for the Jellicent that is going to be coming back in. So we go ahead and fast move down. Let's see what decides to come in. It's probably going to be the Jellicent, and they probably have Bubble. But let's see what they got. It is going to be Jellicent, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Stone Edge, and it was Bubble. We saw the animation come through right there. So they can safely farm us down, but they decided to give up a shield, which was a very interesting call. In this situation, if you're on the Jellicent side, you don't need to shield that because it's just not going to do that much damage. As you guys can see, that's perfectly fine. They can fast move down. Now, granted, 2 Stone Edges would have gotten them extremely low. And our Whimsicott right here, I am concerned about an Ice Beam, so I'm going to go ahead and shield, but it's actually a Surf, which shows me that they probably have Shadow Ball as well. So I'm going to go ahead and let this next one go through. And we can kind of see the tankiness right here as well as the Shadow Ball will land. Whimsicott can hang on. We're going to overload on energy and now go for a Grass Knot to take out the Jellicent. And we'll have to see what that final Pokemon is going to be. It's going to be a Hypno. So this was actually the team I made yesterday, but in a different order. Which is interesting. All 3 Pokemon are great in the Great League, but ultimately like team order as well really helps out against meta matchups. So we're just going to go ahead and go for these Ice School Spears here and get the Hypno out of the game. We also don't want to get hit with Focus Blast or anything like that. We're just going to go ahead and shield. It is just going to be a Thunder Punch, which is fine. It's a typical moveset we'd see right here, and we can get to another Ice School Spear. So that's going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving into the next battle, we have Whimsicott on the lead versus Quagsire. All right, so my first thought, Team Instinct swag on the other side as well to my opponent, but my first thought here is this is Quagsire, Noctowl, and Frostlass, a patron team of mine from last season. So I'm going to try to play it to that, or backline. We hard lock down this team, basically. So what I am concerned about is the potential Sludge Bomb. Quagsire does have access to, so I'm going to go ahead and shield, and it is actually just a Stone Edge, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and go for another Grass Knot, as this will be one-shotting the Quagsire. If we get 2 shields, that's beautiful, so let's see what happens. Boom! Down goes the Quagsire. They decided to bring in the Frostlass, so that confirmed my suspicion. I'm going to try to get to the Moonblast in time, but they get to the Avalanche, which is really unfortunate. Now, mind you, I am reading Quagsire, Frostlass, and Noctowl. So we're going to go ahead and bring in the Bastiodon to hard lock this Frostlass down. They swap in a Medicham, and I'm like, oh no, this is not the team that I read. And we are in a very, very tough position right here, as Ice School Spear can still do some nice neutral damage, but ultimately things are not looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and shield. It is the Psychic, which is perfect. This allows us to live a lot longer and get off another charge move here, chunking down the Medicham or getting a shield. I think both of we desperately need the shield, and we do get the shield right here, and they will get to the next charge move. So this is looking to be a good game, as the Psychic will take us out, but they go for an Ice Punch. Like, if you're in that position, just go for the instant KO, because you need that health on Medicham to take us down, which allows us to live, and we swap out into Bastion and come in with the Frostlass. So that is just an unfortunate call for them, as the Ice Punch is double resisted, because it just does no damage, right? So unfortunately, unless they undercharge it, but I still think it just wasn't enough. They had to go for Psychic in order to take us out, but boom, good game, very well played. A slight mistake by my opponent, but that's okay. So hope you guys, that is the last battle. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This team was a lot of fun, and like I said, Whimsicott is very good against this meta, and it pairs well with the tanky Pokemon that we do see. So if you wanted to put it together with a Registeel and a Galarian Stunfisk, give that a try. If you want to try Bastiodon and Galarian Stunfisk, give that a try. I just decided to try this order to see how well it does. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.